Honey is one of the only food substances that does not spoil. It's difficult for bacteria to thrive in honey due to its high concentration of glucose and fructose. After a while, honey may look like it has gone bad because it crystallizes. However, when honey hardens, you just need to heat it back up. Honey isn't bad for you either. In fact, many scientists believe that humans could live on honey alone. Honey has many health benefits. It can relieve a sore throat and boost the immune system. It can also nourish your skin and relieve indigestion. Sweet!
Today, I want to delve into the profound impact of digital transformation on businesses and their competitive edge. The digital age has ushered in a paradigm shift, and it's imperative that companies adapt. In this era, customer expectations have evolved dramatically. Companies that embrace digital tools can provide personalized experiences, enhancing customer satisfaction and loyalty. Additionally, data-driven insights enable better decision-making, allowing firms to stay agile and responsive to market trends. Furthermore, digital technologies optimize operational efficiency. Automation and AI-driven processes can reduce costs and errors, freeing up resources for strategic investments. Businesses that harness these capabilities gain a competitive advantage in today's fast-paced marketplace. In conclusion, the digital transformation isn't merely an option. It's a necessity for businesses looking to thrive. By focusing on customer experience, data-driven insights, and operational efficiency, companies can position themselves for success in the digital age.
The Golden Age of American Agriculture. Listen to part of a lecture in a history class. Then answer the question. We call the first 2 decades of the 20th century the Golden Age of American Agriculture. What were the factors that made the period the Golden Age of American Agriculture? Who can offer some reasons?
New strains of crops, improved farming methods, and what about greater use of pesticides and fertilizers?
Absolutely. Technical advances continued to improve productivity. The U.S. Department of Agriculture set up demonstration farms to show how new techniques could improve crop yields. In 1914, Congress created the Agricultural Extension Service to advise farmers and their families about everything from crop fertilizers to home sowing projects. The Department of Agriculture undertook new research, developing hogs that fattened faster on less grain, as well as fertilizers that increased grain production, new hybrid seeds that developed into healthier plants, treatments that prevented or cured plant and animal diseases, and various methods for controlling pests were all introduced around this time. Anything else?
Wasn't there also some kind of population boom around then?
Good. Farm prices were high as demand for goods increased and land values rose. However, the good years of the early 20th century ended following World War I. What was happening then?
Maybe a lot of people, women especially, were moving from the farm to the cities.
What
The second big driver that will transform our future is, of course, demographics. 1 billion children are alive today, all of whom will be adults within the next 18 years. All of them will see your lifestyle on CNN or NBC, even if they don't own a TV. They will see it through the door of the bar. They will see it through the posters on the side of the highway, even if they don't own a car. 1 billion children, all of whom will consume resources. Linked to that, an urbanization trend at a pace of which we have never seen before. 300 million people in China alone will move from rural areas into cities in the next 8 or 9 years. Another 450 million people will move in Africa off the land and into cities. Most of them, most city dwellers, already live in slums. They have no running water, or maybe the very first service they have is access to a tap 100 meters away. They have, at the moment, very little access to electricity, but they're there, and they're demanding infrastructure, and their homes will grow from the one-story shack to 2 stories to 3 stories. And then once the mains water supply arrives, another crisis comes. Of course, as you've seen it, which is the puddles of water everywhere, the drains that are full of soap and human waste, the earth that used to be dry, because people only carried 10 litres, 100 metres every 10 hours. Now we have leaking taps, we have sewage problems, and we have a whole host of other issues requiring more infrastructure.
India has downplayed the impact of U.S. plans to end New Delhi's preferential trade status that allows duty-free access to products worth $5.6 billion, saying that India has not assured the United States that it will provide equitable and reasonable access to its markets. U.S. President Donald Trump has directed the U.S. Trade Representative's office to remove India from a program that grants it preferential trade treatment. In 2017, India was the biggest beneficiary of the Generalized System of Preferences, which lowers duties on exports from about 120 developing countries. The Indian Commerce Secretary told reporters in New Delhi that India has no plans to impose retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods.
All around the world, significant parts of our cultural heritage are threatened by pollution, neglect, carelessness and greed. In learning the importance of our history, we come to understand the need to protect significant remains from the past so that future generations can come to understand their heritage.
It's common sense that some objects are harder than others. We refer to this characteristic as hardness. But what exactly is hardness? Let me tell you. It's the ability of a material to resist being damaged, scratched, or marred in any way. There's even a way to measure it. It's the Mohs scale of hardness. A German scientist, a mineralogist named Friedrich Mohs came up with the scale in 1812. Here's how he made it. Mohs took 10 different minerals. Then he rated them from 1 to 10 based on their ability to withstand damage and to damage other materials. Talc received a rating of 1. It's soft, it's easily scratched, and can hardly damage anything. Diamond received a rating of 10. It's the hardest natural substance known to man. The other objects on the scale that number from 2 to 9 are gypsum, calcite, fluorite, apatite, feldspar, quartz, topaz, and corundum. I see worried looks on your faces. Don't worry about writing them down. They're listed on page 234 of your text. Take a look. Now, what about the hardness of other objects? It depends on which of the 10 minerals can scratch them. For instance, your fingernails get a rating of 2.5 on the Mohs scale. So talc and gypsum can't scratch them, but calcite can. What are some others? Let's see. Iron is rated between 4 and 5. Glass is between 6 and 7. And steel is close to 8.
Did any of you notice those strange greenish-colored lights in the sky last night? Anybody? Mark?
I did, sir. They were beautiful. But, what were they?
We call them the northern lights, but they're also called auroras. There are 2 types of auroras, those in the northern hemisphere and those in the southern hemisphere. In the north, we call them the aurora borealis. In the south, they're the aurora australis. Auroras appear as colorful streams of light in the sky in high northern and southern latitudes. They frequently occur during the months before or after the equinox. The equinox happens in March and September. That's when the planet is tilted so that it's neither pointed away from nor toward the sun. So, why do auroras occur? They're the result of a reaction in the upper atmosphere. Solar winds hit the Earth's magnetic field. This may excite the oxygen and nitrogen atoms in the atmosphere. After some time, the atoms become relaxed. As they relax, the electrons in these atoms give off energy. This energy appears in the form of light. The color of the light depends on whether it comes from oxygen or nitrogen. In addition, the height in the atmosphere helps determine the colors that the light forms. Also, just so you know, oxygen usually emits a green or brownish-red light. Nitrogen typically gives off a red or blue light. Most auroras are green in color.
Listen to a discussion in a business class.
The computerized workplace can be hazardous to your health if you don't take preventative measures. Today, we'll go over what some of these hazards are, and more importantly, what can be done about them. One major complaint, maybe the biggest complaint, of people who spend time at the computer is eye strain. To help ease the strain on the eyes, the computer screen should be about 2 feet from your eyes. The entire screen should be in focus. The brightness and contrast should be adjusted for best readability. A good way to relieve eye strain is to look away from the screen frequently. Focus your eyes on objects that are far away, like something outside, the building across the street or the tree in the parking lot.
But what if your office doesn't have a window? I mean, I've worked in lots of places where there's no window.
Then in that case, you need to get up and walk around. You should never sit for more than 30 minutes at a time anyway. This is important for the rest of your body as well, namely your back. Neck and back pain are a big problem for computer people. Always make sure your screen, keyboard, and chair are at the right height for you.
Land animals move easily through air because air does not slow them down. Sea creatures, on the other hand, have to move through water, which is hundreds of times thicker than air. A sea animal has to push itself through water in order to move. Sea animals use many different ways to swim, creep, or glide through water. Fish are able to swim by bending their bodies into waves. They have flattened fins and tails that push against the water like oar blades, converting their body waves into forward movement. The size of a fish's tail contributes to its swimming speed. Small tail fins are found in slow swimmers like the eel. The medium-sized tail of the bass is linked with a medium to fast swimming speed. Long, pointed tail lobes like those on the marlin are found only on fast swimmers. Sea mammals like whales and dolphins swim in a very fish-like way, except for one important difference. Because their ancestors lived on the land, they developed tails that moved up and down. Whales and dolphins wave their tails up and down rather than side to side like fish do. The seahorse is a fish whose tail is not used for swimming at all. The seahorse uses its thin, coiled tail to attach itself to seaweed, like a monkey's tail holds onto a tree branch. Squids and octopuses move in a completely different way. They use a type of jet propulsion, shooting water out through a nozzle to force themselves along. And then there are the creatures that live on the bottom of the sea. Sea slugs, limpets, and whelks creep on a single flat piece of muscle called a foot. Ripples pass along the foot, which allows these animals to glide smoothly forward.
Hiroshi Ishiguro, a robot engineer from Osaka University, makes Geminoids, extremely realistic human robots. It's important that they look exactly like real people for Ishiguro to carry out his research. He's interested in understanding philosophical questions such as what is identity and what might happen if a person and their robot double were able to be in two places at the same time. His Geminoid robots have rubber skin and their heads are controlled by motors. These move the head, blink, twitch, shrug the shoulders, and make the robot appear to be breathing during conversations. As well as this, there are motors which are connected to a computer, microphone, and camera. These scan the controller's voice and face movements, then send messages back to the robot, which copies them. The robot's body and skin stop at his chest, though, and he has no robotic legs, so you won't see him.
I don't understand road rage. It is a problem that is getting worse all over the world. People are turning into monsters when they get behind the wheel of a car. They think the road belongs to them. They think they don't have to follow speed limits or consider other drivers. I wonder why this is. What is it about cars and driving that turns normal people into maniacs? Some people simply hoot and shake their fists. The funny thing is, they also do the same things to make other drivers angry. Serious road rage happens when someone gets out of their car and gets angry. They can punch the other driver and sometimes even kill them. Why would you want to kill someone because they overtook you?
When I was pregnant, a friend gave me a book called Great Lies to Tell Small Kids. In it are gems like wine makes mommy charming and men don't go bald naturally, they like getting their hair cut that way. Now, if you're filled with horror at the notion of pulling a toddler's leg like that, a new study in the Journal of Moral Education shows that parents regularly use deception to influence their kids. We can all recall lies our parents told us to get us to do something, or to stop doing something. If you cross your eyes, they could stay that way, comes to mind. But in the current study, researchers found that these parental fibs are hardly few and far between, and that even parents who preach to their kids about the importance of being honest admit to lying to them as well. The researchers plan to extend their studies to see whether all this lying undermines children's trust. Until then, well, keep telling Junior that if he spins around really fast, then stops, his face will skid around to the back of his head. It could keep him busy while Mommy becomes even more charming.
How frequent are nightmares for toddlers, and what causes them? Those are questions researchers at the University of Montreal hope to answer. They asked parents of about 1,000 children to estimate the occurrence of their child's nightmares from age 2.5 through age 6. The parents were also questioned about their child's disposition. First, it turns out that nightmares aren't so frequent. About a third of the parents reported no nightmares at all. And then there's the second result. Kids who were called difficult as early as 5 months were more likely to suffer from nightmares as toddlers. And the ones who at a year and a half were more anxious, more likely to cry, and more difficult to calm down were also more likely to have bad dreams. The study authors say this means children may be, well, like little adults. It's already well established that adults tend to express real-life stress and emotional problems as nightmares. The researchers suggest that focusing on the kids' daytime issues and on parenting techniques may help banish nighttime demons.
The best student has an opportunity to acquire a scholarship. This is the first example of a modern and professional army.